Hi everyone, I'm Chang-Wen for Gotta Be Mobile, and in this video we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Verizon Wireless 4G LTE broadband router with voice. This is essentially a MiFi product. It's made by Novatel Wireless, and it looks quite different from Verizon's previous MiFi jetpacks in the past, which is smaller, more portable, and is battery operated. So in this video, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the hardware and explain some of the differences between this MiFi home router and the MiFi portable router, and then we're going to go ahead and set it up with a tablet to see how it works and check out the user interface. So let's take a look at the hardware of the MiFi Home. Verizon brands this as the 4G LTE mobile broadband router. Hi everyone, I'm Chang-Wen for Gotta Be Mobile, and in this video we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Verizon Wireless 4G LTE broadband router with voice. This is the device that we have here, and it's meant to be placed flat down like this on a table, shelf, or flat surface. And as you can see, it's a router, but it's different than Verizon's previous mobile routers, such as its personal hotspots that are branded with the Jetpack name. This one is also made by Novatel Wireless for Verizon Wireless. It's the Novatel Jetpack, and as you can see, this one is more portable, it's smaller, thinner, lighter, and definitely more pocketable, and it's easier to carry with you. So in this video, we're going to explain some of the differences between this small guy and the bigger guy here, and then we're going to go ahead and demonstrate some of the features of the Verizon Wireless broadband router with voice. So join me in this video review of the 4G LTE broadband router with voice, which Novatel also brands generically as the MiFi Home. So let's go ahead and take a look at the MiFi Home. Off the bat, let's go ahead and take a look at it standing up, which is how you're going to place it on a flat surface like a tabletop or shelf, and that's how it's meant to be used. On the front of the device, you have the tower portion, which is the tall portion here, and the base portion. You can't take either portion off, but we're going to designate the top port as the tower and the bottom part as the base, and we're going to examine some of the key differences here. As you can see on the front, on the tower portion, you have an LED light with the power button, and right now it's a solid red, and you can go ahead and press the power button to activate the display or press and hold to turn off the device completely. There's a 4G LTE LED light as well, and it will glow when you have an LTE connectivity, Wi-Fi and Ethernet LED lighters as well, to indicate if you have any devices connected to either Wi-Fi or Ethernet. And then on the bottom here, you have the WPS setup. So essentially, the function of the 4G LTE broadband router with voice is similar, very similar to the MiFi Jetpack, in that it allows up to 10 4G LTE devices to connect and share Verizon's 4G LTE connectivity. So if you have a Wi-Fi enabled tablet, a laptop, a computer, or any other appliance or accessory that requires internet connectivity and has Wi-Fi built in, you can connect to this MiFi home router, and it will allow you to do so over a Wi-Fi connectivity. However, as we said, there is an Ethernet connectivity as well, which is something that this little guy doesn't have. Here you're limited just to Wi-Fi, but if you're in a home setting, if you're living in a remote part of the country where you don't have traditional cable or DSL wired connection because your provider doesn't go up to where you are, or if you're in a remote area doing field work, or if you have a temporary office, this one can be very handy as it comes with a number of ports. You have on the back, you have 3 Ethernet ports and 2 telephone jacks, so you can even connect a telephone to use Verizon's mobile voice connectivity and change it into a temporary landline if you so wish. And then if you don't get adequate signal, you can even connect an external antenna here, and then a potential firmware upgrade in the future will allow this system to be connected to a home security system, so you can even connect your alarm system to the MiFi Home as well. Another key difference with this guy compared to the smaller one is that while the MiFi Jetpacks are operable just by itself because it has a built-in battery. This guy, although it does have a built-in backup battery, so you don't have to be connected to a power source without, and you can see the battery underneath this battery door right here on the bottom on the base. Although you can operate this without being connected to a wall outlet, you can't have data connectivity without powering it in. So the device does ship with a wall charger, and this has to be plugged into the wall for you to have data connectivity. So it's a little bit of a letdown in that you do need to keep this powered and connected to a wall outlet to have data connectivity. But by itself like this, I can connect my home telephone in and make calls, and it would be okay. And the battery life is rated for 3.5 hours without having to plug this device into the wall. So I have an extension cord near me right now, so I'm going to go ahead and plug one end into the extension cord. And then I'm going to connect the other end into the power port on the bottom base portion here. And right now it shows me that on the MiFi portion, on the bottom portion, the base, it shows me that full reception for voice and full reception for data connectivity. And it shows that I'm connected to Verizon Wireless 4G LTE. And as you can see, the LED indicator just lit up. So on the base portion, just like the MiFi, you have 3 navigation keys here. So you have the menus back and forth, and you have an OK or a selector key. And this will allow you to select through different menu items, so you can go ahead and see just the different options. You can even perform a software or firmware upgrade directly on the router without having to connect it to a PC to upgrade the firmware. And the nice part about this is that it will show you the password and all the information you need, the SSID information, and just basic features. But for the more advanced setup, you can go ahead and change the SSID, you can change your password in your administrative setting. But in order to do that, we're going to have to connect it to a tablet or a PC because you can't do it on the device itself. So I'm going to go ahead and find the Wi-Fi password, and then I'm going to go ahead and connect this Wi-Fi only Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1 to 2014 edition. So we're going to go ahead and just connect that. So this is the MiFi home. It shows me on the tablet as Verizon 4G LTE BRV1FD2. So I'm going to go ahead and connect that. And then I'm going to go ahead and get the password here and enter it in. And now we're connected. So let's go ahead and pull up the web interface. I'm going to go ahead and open up my browser. And in the browser address bar, you can either enter in 192.168.1.1, or you can go to http.verizon or :// Verizon and it should take you there. And this will give you the web interface to connect and change your settings. So in order to manage your settings, you're going to go ahead and just log in. And the administrative password should be the same Wi-Fi password that you entered for the first time. So we do recommend that you change that when you take it out of the box, so that when you have guests who may log in, they can't change any of your administrative settings inadvertently or on purpose. So here you can manage the maximum number of devices. So you can connect up to 10 Wi-Fi devices, and then you also have 3 Ethernet jacks. So essentially this will take you up to 13 connected devices. You can change your Wi-Fi SSID name, so if you have your company name, so you can change it to Verizon Wireless, you can change it to Verizon or any other name that you want, and then you can also change your Wi-Fi password as well. And then you can also limit how many devices you have connected, and you can also change the administrative password as well. Under Advanced Setup, you can also access a number of different advanced menu options such as port filtering, port forwarding, enable the firewall or LAN connections, and these give you more advanced connectivity settings as you would with a home router that's connected to either a cable or DSL modem. And then you can also manage your data usage. For the Verizon MiFi Home or the Verizon 4G LTE broadband router with voice, essentially you'll need a Verizon Share Everything plan. And there are different options that you can select. You can select a plan with unlimited voice and texting, although you can't text on this device, but it will come with unlimited voice. So you can connect a landline, make a call, and also you can set up a data bucket that you can share with other devices such as a 4G LTE smartphone, a Droid, or a tablet that you have with Verizon Wireless, so you don't have to purchase multiple data buckets, and just a single data bucket can be shared across all your devices. You can also configure this if you don't have an existing smartphone or tablet with Verizon. You can also configure this without the voice portion as well. So you would only use data, or if you don't want to use data and you just want to use this as your home phone, you can also change it so you don't use data and you just use voice for the MiFi Home portion. So here I have a landline telephone. As you can see, it's not connected to anything yet. So I'm going to just set the phone aside for just a second. I'm going to go ahead and plug in the base station to my extension cord here, so that we have power, but there's still no line connectivity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plug in the telephone port into the portion on our phone, and now we have connectivity. So we have a dial tone, and I'm going to go ahead and call my landline, my cell phone number upstairs. And it's ringing. So I'm going to go ahead and hang up because just to show you that the phone portion does work. And although you have 2 different jacks or ports here for telephone lines on the MiFi Home, you don't have 2 numbers. You can't program 2 different numbers here. Both lines will use the same telephone number that's provisioned for your SIM card. And speaking of SIM card, at this time, the Verizon MiFi Home, the 4G LTE broadband router with voice, you can't swap out a SIM card, so you'll have to get this programmed and activated through Verizon, and you can't just swap out a SIM card from your phone and just plug it in here. So if you want to use your Verizon mobile number, you would have to port it over and then get a new number on your cell phone. So unfortunately, you just can't swap out SIMs on this particular device. The SIM is embedded in the device and isn't user accessible. So now that we have a Wi-Fi device, you can see the Wi-Fi light going on, and if you plugged in an Ethernet cable and plugged it into a device that accepts an Ethernet connection, you'll also see the Ethernet light go on. So essentially what this device is an excellent home broadband replacement, but if you're already wired into a cable modem, or even Verizon Fios or AT&T Uverse, or even if you have DSL, this device is actually a pretty expensive proposition because you're using mobile data, which is more expensive than if you were to use wired data or a wired data connection. So when you're using this device, data speeds are actually pretty excellent, and we're going to go ahead and launch our speed test application here. Let's go ahead and make sure that we're connected to our Verizon 4G LTE BRV network. And then I'm going to launch the speed test just to give you an idea of how fast the speeds are with Verizon Wireless in San Jose, California. So we're getting pretty low latency. We're getting about 50 milliseconds of latency, about 30 to 35 megabits per second on the download, and upload speeds are well in excess of what Verizon is quoting. So we're getting about 12.66 megabits per second upload. Verizon promises about 5 to 10, 5 to 12 on the download, and between 2 and 5 on the upload. So as you can see, the network is outperforming any claims that Verizon is making. So this is a very positive thing for those who may need to use and only rely on this in a field setting. So if you're a scientist and you're working in a remote location and you have a temporary setup for an office, you can go ahead and use this as a replacement for having to have someone come in and wire up that office, or even or relying on your phone for tethering. So this will give you a more reliable data connection. It will give you a telephone connection as well, so you can have an office phone. And in the future, through a firmware upgrades, Verizon can even enable fax support. So if you have a fax machine, you can go ahead and plug that in as well. So while it does extend more connectivity and options than the smaller MiFi Jetpack, the Verizon 4G LTE broadband router with voice is a bigger product. It's a product that actually requires a power plug to be connected at all times when you're using data. And it's one that gives you telephone connectivity for voice. So it's actually a pretty good product, and it gives you a lot of functionality to recreate an office-like environment using what you have. So this is a great product. I'm Chung Nguyen for Gotta Be Mobile. Join me at gottabemobile.com for our full review of the MiFi Home. Thanks for watching.